What's going on, y'all? Bud Elliott here of the Nolecast. That's Chuck Blunt. That's not Lawrence-Stample. We are back, of course, to bring you guys an episode preview of Florida State hosting Virginia Tech. Final home game of the year should be, just beautiful Tallahassee weather. I know everybody going up there will hit our friends, of course, at Madison Social, like it says on the hat. Great place to take in the game. And obviously, anybody struggling with all the YouTube TV stuff, catch the games a little before and after here. Obviously, Florida State a fairly big favorite in this game. That we've seen that a lot of times before. I think we'll get into the stats, but maybe justified. How you guys doing tonight, man? It's another Florida State preview.
I'm a little sad, man. We're running out of football. We only got 3 weeks of the season left. Like, I don't know. We wait all year and then it's gone so quick. So
I don't disagree with that. Now, how you been, man?
Good. I'm especially for the last home game. I'm hoping that we can look good. It's been so difficult just being able to tell week in, week out what we're gonna get. So that's been fun. But I don't know. It's kind of bittersweet, honestly, coming to the end of this season because like I want to continue to watch Florida State football, but I want to see something happen. I want to see Florida State football kind of have some sort of trajectory that makes sense. So it's bittersweet.
Like not this purgatory.
For sure. I want to ask now, how emotional and difficult was your last game in Doak?
It's funny. So it's I think it's different for everyone. Your last game in Doak is it's fun and you're excited, especially being able to like have your family come on, you take pictures on the field and like that whole thing is super cool. But realistically, like your mindset is I'm on the way out to the next level. Like I'm looking at bowl, I'm looking at combine. I have my agent that I've now hired a little bit ago. Like I'm looking for that next step. So realistically, I'm like, listen, it's been fun, Doak, but we're about wrapped up here. We're about wrapped up.
Plus, your last game was against an FCS opponent. So did you even play like the most of the third and fourth quarter? Or was that a game where you got out early?
Yeah, not much, but that is a fun aspect though, is that you have your guys underneath you like Adnati and like I've cool guys to where I'm like, all right, we're passing the reins on. This is the last home game. Like you guys get out there and get after it. So it's a cool kind of pass the torch type situation as well. It's cool. Fun game.
All right. So I think we have good graphics dialed up here. Let's go ahead and start talking about Florida State's opponent. 13.5-point favorite, over under of 54.5. You're dealing with a team here in the Hokies who fired their coach, Brent Pry. I almost said Brent Pry, who just could really never get it rolling there. I do think that there's a bit of Vatek took a long time to commit any kind of resources to this thing. And in fact, if not, now they've at least pledged it. And they said they're going to take their budget from like shockingly low in the ACC to like top third, I guess, in the ACC. We'll see kind of how that shakes out as far as, budget, coaching staff, salaries, NIL, whatever. But they kept losing all their best players to the portal pretty much every year. And look at LSU's roster, look at Auburn's roster, kind of across the sport. And yet, like, they do still play pretty hard. Like I've watched these guys a decent bit. You guys want to start Hokies offense? You want to start Hokies defense? How do we want to break this down?
I think the closer matchup is probably their offense versus our defense. So there's probably more to discuss there.
Yeah.
My FSU text. What? My bad.
No, let's start with their offense because I feel like that's the more even matchup. It's probably their offense versus our defense.
That sounds good. I will go ahead and share the screen. I wanted to figure out what I was sharing here. Cool. Twitter requires a passcode to get in your DMs now.
Oh,
I guess, which is probably good for account security. But yeah, I was like, what is my passcode?
All right. I'm very curious to watch their run offense versus our run defense. We know we've seen the FSU rush defense have some issues at times. So I will be curious to see, given that they are number 3 in success rate, they're 23rd in sack adjusted yards per carry. Like they are good at running the football. They're terrible passing the football. But it will be curious to see how Tony approaches that, how much he loads up the box. By the way, the availability report came out. Rawls is out on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that is something to note.
He's been playing well. Like I overall, not perfectly, but I do think he's he's certainly like, a good ACC level starter and a good P4 starter at corner. A guy with some size. So that will hurt. So I watched them a good bit. They are running drones a lot more now. I think like I mean he's a big dude. I mean they list him at 6'2", 235. He looks all of that. I mean that's exactly my measurements. So I'm like, dude, like granted he's probably got a little less body fat than I do. He's definitely twitchier than I am. He's kind of like the one key I think on him is you got to get into his legs early. I would comp it almost to he's not built like Jerome Bettis, but somebody's like a Ron Dane, like the bigger backs who have okay top end speed. Bettis is a bad comp, but like certain guys, once they get going, they're really hard to stop. But they're more like momentum runners. I thought EJ was actually this way.
Yeah,
honestly, like he was not quick, but he was fast. Like there's a bit of like a gallop to him, almost. So with these bigger, taller QBs who are run threats, I think you really got to get into their legs early. So penetration is huge. If they get you blocked up on some of this stuff, and granted, like, they're blocked up, like that's kind of great analysis for any type of runner. But really, I do think he's a lot harder to bring down, once he gets going. If you look at his rush stats, man, I mean, you're getting double-digit carries out of him.
Yeah, they're not bad.
In basically like every game, 11 against NC State, 13 against Wake Forest, 16 against Georgia Tech, 21 rushes against Cal for 137. That's including sack yardage, of course. And so some of your sacks are included there in the rush attempts, obviously, because it's college ball. And then 14 for 85 from him in a loss recently to Louisville.
Which was still kind of close.
Man, they'll spread you out and they'll run the ball a lot. Yeah. Like there's a bit of a want to factor, I think, when you're playing this offense. Like you have got to want to tackle. Like you have to play hard. And
they're a 53rd in the country at 53% run to pass ratio on the year, and that's with adjusting for sacks. So they will try to run it first, second, and probably third.
They can, yeah.
There's some stuff I like about what we do on defense here. In this matchup, particularly, which is why, like, I'm not saying that FSU is guaranteed to win. I think the spread may be a little high, to be honest, that like as far as your trust factor with this team right now from a week-to-week basis. But I want 11 eyes on drones. I don't think you need to play a whole bunch of man coverage on him, honestly. And he is not a consistently accurate passer. No. Like and it's not like an anticipation thing, but like the misses that are just outside the strike zone are striking. And then he'll throw some absolute dimes. If you watch him against South Carolina, I mean, some of the layups he missed was like, oh, dude, you guys are going to win this game if you can just hit some of the layups. And then he threw just 4 or 5 beautiful sideline balls and just dropped them in a bucket. I mean,
he's one of those quarterbacks that he makes the easy stuff look hard and the hard stuff sometimes look easy.
Yeah, exactly right.
He kind of reminds me a little bit like Tommy. Like Tommy. It's just you get these open passes that you're like, all right, and then he can run the ball. I think that his threat to run the ball is a little bit more because he's a little bit bigger, a little bit more. He could probably take a hit. But that's really what scares me the most about this offense is that we have not done well containing running quarterbacks. We have not. There's not been one game to where the quarterback is a actual threat that we've won. And that's worrisome. And that's because we have young guys on our defensive line and rush lanes are extremely important. I tweeted, if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. I tweeted the other day, I was like, I'm really surprised that we aren't better at stopping running quarterbacks with having a running quarterback. Like that is what you do in team period. When you're practicing against Tommy, he's going to tuck it and run when he doesn't have a receiver open. That's just a known habit. So if that's the case, then we always have to make sure we're corralling him. We have not done a good job on that. So it's like, that is one thing that really scares me, especially with the fact that he had as many yards as he did versus Cal. He scored 2 touchdowns. Like he puts the game on his back sometimes. So that's a little worrisome. They do some gimmicky stuff as far as the run game as well, which hopefully we're disciplined enough to be able to stop, which you can do with a running quarterback. So that's a little bit worrisome. And again, they've had a couple good games on the road, which is still a little bit worrisome. So it's like, I don't think this is really like a give me game, but we are such a momentum team. Like if we feed off the momentum, we get a couple good stops, we're gonna feed into that and it'll steamroll. So I still have us on top, but we're gonna have to respond early when it comes to the defensive side of the ball.
But you said you've watched them quite a bit. Was he hurt earlier in the year, or did they make some type of change? Because it's interesting to look at his game. Well, his game log, he averaged under 3 yards a carry for the first 6 games of the year. And each of the last 3 games, he's had over 5 yards a carry. So, like, what exactly clicked, or did they change that has unlocked his running a little more than they had earlier in the season?
I think it's more design stuff.
Okay.
They've also played, if you just look at the quality of defense at times, like Vandy has a pretty decent defensive front this year, right? South Carolina is still a quality defense. NC State is not. Right. Wake is actually a pretty decent defense. Georgia Tech, is not very good defensively this year. Cal is not.
And Louisville's
a pretty good defense. Yeah. And they played Old Dominion and Wofford. Obviously, they lost ODU. ODU's fun, man. Like they don't have any defensive talent, but like that's a pretty well coached team and a really fun. Like if you guys like G5 ball, ODU puts points on. Mm-hmm. Sorry, ODU puts points on people, and they're fun to watch. But that's kind of neither here nor there. There was some kind of like camp rumor, like coming out of camp that like he was, like maybe not 100%. Okay. But I don't think that was ever like verified anywhere. But it might go to your point, Chuck. Like obviously,
because his carries, the volume of carries have also gotten like 16, 21, and 14 the last 3 weeks. He's hit 83, 137, and 85 on the ground. Like it's just it really flipped the last 3 weeks, even though they're only 1-2 in those 3 games. His legs have been just a much bigger factor than it was earlier in the year. Of course, when Pry got fired and everything. That's why I was curious. I thought I had heard he had been dinged up at one point, so that I wondered if he's just finally healthy and he's starting to play more like people kind of have expected out of him. So
I think there's probably something to that. Maybe the OC, like obviously Montgomery, the head coach now, the acting was the OC. He's formerly of Tulsa. He was on our Brile staff for a while there at Baylor and various places. Maybe he's calling it somewhat different, but I will say I don't think Drones is a great scrambler.
Yeah, if the play breaks down, that's not his strength. He needs it to be that QB dive and like set it, the QB lead, like set it up, and it's a designed run play for him to really. His change of direction isn't great, right? Like he has to get running downhill to be an effective runner of the football.
They just do not play pitch and catch well. Like I mean, Virginia played pitch and catch well against you. I don't think Pitt did. And by pitch and catch, I just mean like, hey, the guy's open, just hit him, right? Keep the chains moving. They don't do that. That they're just not very good at that. If they're beating you with short stuff, for the most part, it's because you are either misaligned and they throw the easy now screens, or like they throw them and then you're just not tackling them very well. And tackling obviously is, Niles talked about this a lot, but if you're misaligned, it's a lot harder to tackle guys. Like you're out leveraged, you're already in chase mode. You will see on Chuck's breakdown here, they're 92nd in explosive pass and 127th in passing success rate, right? Completion percentage is very low. If you're a Noles fan and you're giving up bombs in this game, I think you're pissed, right? It's don't allow them to hit the ball over the top and don't allow them to run. So that comes to keeping some guys back. You come up, you tackle the screens, you dedicate guys against the run. Pretty much. It's easier said than done because he's a big ass dude and they do run the ball well and they play hard. Like there's an effort level to this.
I think the only way we see outside of a blown coverage would be if they have that early rushing success and we start biting on play action, right? Like, because we know that they can run the football. If you start creeping up and get your eyes stuck in the backfield, you could have a guy get behind you on a play action pass. And that might be a situation you give up the explosive, but he still has to actually hit it. And he doesn't exactly throw the best, most accurate ball to begin with.
Yeah.
100%. I don't think their offensive line's great. Have you watched them much now?
Yeah, their offensive line looks all right. I've seen them. They can move some guys off the ball if they're not paying attention. So they're definitely not terrible. But this team reminds me very much of almost like us. Like they're very similar to like as far as looking at the games and seeing how close some of these games are. You have the interim head coach. I think a big part of it is not only possibly getting healthy with this quarterback. I think it's possibly trying to push a little bit harder after the coach had actually left. So that interim head coach, guys are going to push, which we kind of hope for on this show, is talking about how we get an interim head coach. Though it's not ideal, it creates a purpose. And shockingly enough, this team plays with a purpose. Any game that I watch, they play with a purpose. So that's where I'm still kind of teetering on whether this offense is just based off of effort and them just wanting to be okay, or based on them trying to play for this interim head coach. Like that is, and we did that as well for Odell. So it's just, Florida State's been so volatile. Because we're a momentum-based team, I think we will seal it, but there's so many variables with this team that reminds me of us that I think that they may come into Doak and try to push us around. You know what I mean? Like that's what we would. I feel like that's what we would do if we had an interim head coach as well. So, yeah.
Like what kind of fight do you have left? Some of these receivers are okay. Like Aiden Green and Donovan Green are like all right for them. Again, the passing offense is just not. It's just really not great. They do make some kind of like wildly good catches, but I think the fact that there's some real highlight reel catches that they've made this year that stand out in my mind. But then you look at the numbers, like, oh, their leading receiver has 300 yards.
Yeah,
right. Like that kind of speaks to their inability to just make that connection on a consistent basis. So again, like most great coaches will say, like, make the opponent play left-handed. Like, don't lose on their best pitch. Make them execute the stuff they don't do as well if they're going to beat you, right? And the best teams can do either one thing just so well you can't stop it, or they have the ability to have answers. And they don't really have much of an answer, for the teams that have made them, especially if you're making them play from behind. Mm-hmm. Like if you jump out, if you get one of these Gus games where he's scheming guys open early and Tommy hits them and the ball is caught, which obviously last week it was not. I think you can game script them out of this thing, and like there's a chance you blow this team out. Mm-hmm. But also there's a chance that like if you get down early, you're kind of the same way,
right?
So that'd be interesting to check out. One thing you should also check out, of course, is the legendary home loan team. Chad does such a tremendous job for all the Noles fans out there. Obviously, I mean, I think he's super bummed about this season, and it's like we all are, right? Like this sucks. Even if they finish 7-5, like the schedule's so much easier in totality than we thought it was going to be. Like it's very disappointing. One thing that's not disappointing is the results that Chad gives for you. We've seen some interest rates dropping lately, which is kind of nice. Obviously, if you're in the home market, a lot of people are. 844 FSU loan is the number to call. Chad just first class service, man. We've sent him more than 600 loans since he's been a sponsor of the Nolecast, and I think we'll probably crest 700 pretty soon. I need an updated count on that so we can update the ad read. First responders, veterans, of course. Special programs for them as well, and we could, of course, thank those guys on the week of Veterans Day. So, man, it was an absolutely great call to make there. Anything else on this Hokies offense? So, I mean, with the spread in total, that we have here, like you should be holding these. Like if they score 30, it's a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, against Power 4 opponents, they're only scoring 22 points a game, and again in the ACC play, they're only scoring 25. So, I think if you give up more than like 24, you should be pretty disappointed. Which also means if the offense does what they just typically do at home, they should be more than enough to clear that bar and get the W.
I would think so as well.
I'm interested to see if Tony White continues to kind of push this defense in the right direction. So that's going to be a big watch for me. I'm interested in what Tony White's got going on. He has to make a push for himself, for his own career, much less for Florida State. So I'm interested to see what product he puts on the field come Saturday.
All right, let's flip the script here. Let's talk a little about Florida State's offense and this Hokie defense.
Run it down their throat. I mean, they don't do anything well on defense. I mean, the numbers clearly show it. But I think that is the strength of this offense, and it should be the focal point early and often. Takes pressure off Tommy, if his leg isn't 100%. And you should be able to have success. I mean, everybody for the most part has had success running the football against this Hokie defense this year.
It's like weirdly up and down, right? So Louisville went for 235, Georgia Tech 268. Old Dom, which was that really funky offense there, obviously in the middle of quitting on their coach, and the coach got fired. 250. Vandy with that like super creative offense, 262. And then like NC State 59. Cal 39. Wake Forest.
Did Hollywood play that
91.
game
For NC State?
NC State.
Let me check his game log.
I can't remember if he did or not.
I didn't watch that one. He did. Yeah, he went 16 for 67. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually kind of like some of their defensive line pieces. Like they have some, and then some of the guys are just not very good at all. Like it's very weird. It's like, oh, that guy's good, and this guy gets blown off the ball a lot. And the rest of the defense, they don't really play together all that well. And I think some of their pieces in the back end, like the back seven, are very subpar. And I think that is where some of the explosive rushes they allow are really a problem. Like if you see FSU blowing this team out, it's probably, I'm trying to pull up like the national stats here again, like Chuck, explosive rush percentage here that they're allowing. I mean, 117th in the country.
Yeah, and just for people's reference, that the way I calculate explosive rush is any run over 10 yards. Some things do it like 12 yards, but it's kind of hard to get your hands on that kind of data. The 10 yards is much easier to find on some of the websites out there.
I mean, I got to scroll down here, but like Virginia Tech is, yes, they've allowed 46 rushes of 10 plus this year, 14 of 20 plus, 4 of 30 plus. So like that's outside the top 100 in a couple of those categories. Certainly not.
While we're speaking about the run game, it looks like Singleton is questionable. Norvell did mention this week that to expect more of Chroma in the run game, and that could be because of Singleton being banged up. So it'll be interesting to see what does Sawchuk provide. Can Chroma get loose, and what does that rotation look like, and who gets the hot hand, and who do they give the carries to? So
yeah, this defense is, it looks like if there's a part of their team that has somewhat given up a little bit, it's definitely the defense, which, just to make sure everyone's clear, that when you have a team like this that are struggling, that don't really have much to play for, has an interim head coach, your defense is going to be the first thing to go down, because it is almost completely based off of effort. So whereas the offense can be methodical and do the same things over and over and still be able to score, still be able to make drives and make yards, the defense really has to run to the ball and try. And that's where we're not seeing it. And that's, again, on the flip side, that's where it really catches my eye with what's going on with Tony White and how he's able to keep this defense going to a point to where we actually look somewhat good. So the defense really lacks a lot of luster, and I think that's why they're doing the way that they are. I saw no one stand out. There's no real alpha. They don't play with any type of swag or any type of anything. They're coming up, they're trying to do their job, and they're trying to get off the field. That's it. And when you do that, that's how you are 100th in the country on explosive plays.
They also have a significant number of injuries and like just opt-outs, like guys are like, I'm hitting the portal, I'm done. Exactly. Like I'm not playing the rest of this year on this essentially zombie team without a head coach, right? I don't think you're getting the same defense that you saw against South Carolina. Like that defense came to play that day, and it was really like Sellers on some scrambles and a couple design runs, that got them. If you're a Noles fan, you're like, all right, give me some like real hope for this. They have not done a good job against mobile quarterbacks, at all.
Haynes King went 14 for 60 against them just a few weeks ago.
Exactly. What did Pavia do in that game?
Oh, I think he didn't even have to do anything.
Did he vomit on them? I'm trying to remember. I think he hit.
I'm trying to get to the box score real quick, and I can give it to you. But I don't remember him going nuts. Maybe he did.
I'm trying to think here.
Here we go. Pavia against them. He had 11 for 61, so very similar to what King just did to him earlier last month.
You know, in looking at that, like I remember Sellers had a couple really explosive runs, and they were selling out against Sellers to make him hand the football off.
Mm-hmm.
And when they could get him to hand it off on the inside stuff, they were eating that up. They don't eat that up quite as well now as they used to. But I don't put this team in that like Stanford category necessarily. You know, like maybe Carolina's playing better, but they're not as bad as like Carolina was playing to start the year. It is a team where I do think if they truly, like, if you just no-show this, they can beat you.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, I have them 12th in the ACC out of 17.
Yeah, like they're not like a bottom 30.
I have them right next to Wake Forest, honestly. They're 64 and 65 in my power rankings, those two.
And Wake played like crap against you, and
Right.
you jumped them early. But then Wake goes up and beats UVA. Now they knocked the quarterback out of the game, which is obviously very important. But I'm just trying to like kind of give folks some context here. They do have some real athletes. Like it's not a situation in which like you can't just roll the ball out there and play your like C- D game.
Oh no, you'll get beat.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, for
You
sure.
will.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you show up prepared and wanting to play, you should win.
Right, 100%. The Rawls injury does scare me a little bit, but it would scare me more against a really good passing team. Which
I think that's a bigger deal next week against CJ Bailey than it is this week against Drones.
That scares the hell out of me. Is that senior day for NC State there, or do they host UNC this year?
No, I think that is senior day next week. I can double check it real quick.
No, so they host UNC.
Oh, is it?
But still, it's a short rest Friday night. Are you a dog in that game? No. Well, I guess what happens this weekend.
I have FSU -3 as of right now next week.
I mean, your road track record has not been very good, but like, you know.
Speaking of which, this is actually a situation Norvell's pretty good at. He's 12-5 at home against Power 4 opponents that he's favored over. Now he's only 8-9 against the spread in that situation, but he does tend to win this game more often than not. So, you know, for people that like to look at trends like I do, I mean, it does suggest. It's funny too because the score kind of matches what the spread is. The 34-21 is the average score of those games in the 17 situations, and that's basically what the spread's calling for. So,
I think that makes sense. I'm curious to see like what do you get from Danzy in this game, right? Like, are some of those guys that have maybe faded a little bit in recent weeks? Do they get a little bounce back? Right? Are they involved in a different way? I'm excited to see Chroma. I mean, his legs should be pretty fresh. He hasn't had that many carries this year. Like I think he is truly one of your special pieces. Do some of your young guys like do they finish the year strong? Are they starting to hit that freshman wall in some cases? And I don't think Chroma really qualifies there because he hasn't played like that many snaps. But
over under 23.5 pass attempts for Tommy, and what is the outcome based on your guess?
Man, I wish we could almost just get a number of like, all right, passes that are not screens, right? But like, if he's throwing more than 23.5 passes, I think you got problems.
Yeah, I would agree. This needs to be like some of those earlier games in the season when he was having 17, 18 type of attempts, and you're running the ball 45, 50 times. Given their defense is not built to hold up against the run. If you can get to 45 or 50 attempts, you should win, and probably comfortably.
And probably stick with it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not saying you can't win if he throws 24 passes, but we had the stat over the summer. Now
he was Gus is 500 in that situation, and a lot of the wins are against FCS or G5 teams.
Yeah,
he doesn't beat Power 4 teams.
And Tommy, when he had to pass the ball, what was it 20? I think it was like if he had 25 passes, they were losing like an 80% clip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is just like he's not a thrower of the football. Like
right.
He's a guy that he's not a pro. Like he's not going to play pro like in the NFL. He's a college running quarterback.
I would like to see them not have to run him just so that you don't want him to get hurt again before 2 road games. I don't know that they're going to win the 2 road games anyways, but if you're going to have a chance to win those games, you have to have him somewhat close to his full capabilities for those games. Those are the games you'd want to run him in, probably not this one.
I mean, if you get that effort that Florida put up against Kentucky defensively, And that was a whole lot. I don't want to be here. I mean, it was like
Mhm.
lot of just arm tackling, not taking on blocks.
Are they bringing Lagway back, or was that benching for good
I don't know.
He's expected to start
against Texas or against Ole Miss this weekend?
I don't think Tramel Jones is very good.
Yeah, he was once a commit here.
I kind of said that when he was committed here. I was like, I'm not saying he sucks, but like I don't think he's a super high end guy, especially like a freshman on the road at Ole Miss. Like
He always reminded me of Treyon Harris.
That's not a terrible comp. Like Treyon was a little bit better runner. I think Tramel's probably a better thrower. I mean, he's not a bad prospect, but he's just I don't think he's like a difference maker physically. So he has to really win with the accuracy and with his mind. And as a true freshman, probably not going to happen with what that offense has going on right now there in Gainesville.
If we allow, I think the biggest thing that we end up seeing is we can't get off the field on third down. And when you can't get off the field on third down, I don't care what you do. Honestly, if you let them drive down the field and you only let them kick a field goal, though that's great because our deficit doesn't grow very much, but our offense has to pick up their pace even more than they already want to. Therefore, forcing Tommy to be in situations that he doesn't want to be in, therefore having him have to throw the ball more. It's just, and it's happened with running quarterbacks. So it's like, if we can stop and bottle him up on third down, we should not have to see Tommy throw the ball more than he needs to. And it just, it really does suck having those handcuffs on having a quarterback that can't deliver the ball regularly or consistently. That is really tough, and seeing it in real time this season has been very, very interesting. I don't think I've ever really processed that as being a real situation to where you got to throw the ball, but unfortunately it's just let's just throw it and see. So it's been interesting. What are your I'm interested to know your thoughts, Bud. What are your thoughts on him coming back next season?
I mean, if you decide, like, if Gus still wants to be here, and if they decide to keep Mike Norvell, I'm really looking forward to you two guys doing the show. No, I just think, sure, right? Like, he's not going to get paid more elsewhere based on how he's played this year, right? Like, he hasn't really missed important games with injury, but like he kind of stays dinged up. I don't think he's going to improve significantly as a thrower, but you're not going to get less comfortable in this offense. I don't really think for the price you're likely to get a whole lot better option necessarily for this offense next year. And like, I mean, is Deuce going to go pro? I think he should, but again, I'd love to see him back in Garnet Gold. Like, that would be fantastic, right? It's a really hard receiver class to go pro in if you stay. I mean, think about who's coming out next year, right? Like, Jeremiah is way better than you. Cam Coleman's way better than you. I think at least one of the USC guys is not eligible yet. Like, there's some elite sophomore. That was probably the best receiver class in high school that we've seen.
Yeah, Ryan Williams.
Right, exactly. Like since the Julio Jones, AJ Green class that came out, right? So, like, just you can, without talking about any guys who emerge, if he comes back, like, you're behind those guys for
you're automatically number 5 or 6. Like, even if you ball out, you're probably still 5 or 6.
Right. Whereas this year it's like Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, some of those dudes who are really good players, but they're not quite like Jeremiah, maybe a Cam, Ryan, like those type of dudes who are, really, really high level. But like, you would need to go find another number one, because you don't have a high target, high confidence type guy on this offense, really, who is likely to emerge as a one. I'm rambling here. I'm sorry, Nile.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think he's fine to bring back, right? Like, you need to know what you are on offense and not like overspend at the QB position. If you're not running an offense, it's really a passing offense. It's not. It's a spread option attack. It's extremely college. So the biggest mistake would be trying to shoehorn a passer into this thing. Like, that's not a good use of your resources, right? Because you're not going to use a passer in this offense. I don't believe.
I don't think this offense can survive without at least a relatively decent defense. Like, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you're not
Well,
just someone that can just say, all right, well, we're going to answer. It's just not. It's just so, yeah. I say we spend some money on defense for sure if we need to.
Would you press tempo in this game as the last part of they?
I would.
Vatek is 23rd in the country at facing only 62 plays per game, and FSU is 23rd at running 72 plays per game. So it's like, who can dictate that pace? Of course, a lot of it's going to dictate staying ahead of the sticks and being in good down and distance. But I think you need to see if you can wear them out early and often, right?
I think you're way deeper than they are.
Yeah.
Given the opt-outs and the injuries, I would push tempo. Yeah. I think you want to try to get that going. They also do not communicate very well on defense. So I think the tempo, you may be able to steal one or two. I mean, like steal an opportunity for an explosive play due to misalignment or miscommunication.
Yeah.
Like this Gus offense is still an offense you have to prep for. And we talked about this today on Cover 3 on Locks. And I was like, look, if you watch Colorado State the last couple of games, their head's not in it. You can tell New Mexico runs like such a funky system there. Like you lose that game against New Mexico because you didn't take practice seriously on Tuesday and Wednesday, and you didn't give a real prep for it, right? And like you can't just learn it up on Saturday for the most part. Saban had that famous press conference years ago about like not taking the Georgia Southern game back when they were an FCS school.
Goat shit through a tin horn,
right? Yeah, they ran through us like shit through a tin horn, just because we thought we were hot shit and we didn't take stuff seriously all week in practice. Never got a good look from scout and didn't care. And so yeah, it's I would push tempo. I think. Like why not? You're much deeper than they are. You're playing at home. You're a team that kind of feeds off momentum, and it's not like you like put together long 10-play drives very often. So you're trying to pop explosives. I would do kind of what lends itself to that. I think Montgomery wishes he could go tempo at Tech. I just don't think he really has the personnel to do it right now.
With the opt-outs, I mean, they've probably lost a quarter of their team, right? I've seen a lot of names that aren't not playing because they're waiting for the portal to open.
I mean, they have guys who basically hit the portal who are like on official visits elsewhere.
Yeah,
like to other P4 schools, like legit schools with some real money. So they've lost some real talent off this defense. If you lose this team, it's pretty embarrassing, to be honest. Like
it's never good to lose to a team who has an interim coach in general. Yeah. That just is a rule of thumb.
How many coaching change teams do you think FSU will have faced at the end of the season? Because, is Doran coming back to NC State?
I don't think so. I think Doran's out at NC State. You already have Pry out at Vatek. Billy's out at UF. Is there anyone else? Well, Frank Reich was an interim period at Stanford.
Right, at Stanford. You lost to literally Stanford's interim. They fired their coach, like, what?
Well, didn't also Kent State institute an interim at the beginning of the year, too?
Because the coach had the credit card weird thing going on. Yeah.
So that's like 5, right? There's 3 that actually got fired in season and 2 others that are just 1 year situation type thing.
Yeah, and Dabo clearly doesn't count, but like
he might be going somewhere else too.
That feels like the last hurrah there, to be honest.
I don't know. They might be Louisville tomorrow night. I feel like they're going to go like 8-5, and then he's going to throw it in everybody's face. I think Fornelli called that on Cover 3.
If you're a Clemson fan, based on their expectations for this year, and you go 8-5, you're oh my god, that's a rough one. Would you guys push tempo?
Oh, absolutely. I think they're thin on defense, and they're not good on defense anyways. I mean, I feel like as long as you're not screwing up first down, you should be trying to go as fast as possible.
Yeah, as long as we don't turn the ball over. Let's always go tempo. We don't.
Of course, I wish it'd be like I wish it'd be a noon kick at like 80 degrees just so you could really wear their ass out. But I mean, we'll take it at 7:30 and 65.
They did have some stuff in that Louisville. Obviously, Louisville beat them, but like they had the weird punt return against them, and they had some looks. I really don't think they had a real chance to win that game, but it had a chance to be more of a game for longer than it actually was. I guess if they get a couple breaks go their way in a different way, like I'm kind of coming back to the point. Like they're not as awful as some of the teams you have played.
Most plays their defense faced in a game is 72 against Wake this year.
Trying to think.
And Wake only put up 347 at 4.8 yards a clip.
That Wake offense is bad.
It is. Vanderbilt put up 490 on 57 plays, 8.6, and ODU put up 526 on 62 at 4.5 or 8.5.
I would not be shocked if FSU was able to do some of that ODU style stuff to this defense.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, I could see them doing 70 plays and running up 550 yards, like, because they should hit the explosive. I think they could hit 5 plays of 30-plus yards in this game because that defense just isn't deep and isn't as talented as it should be at this point in the year.
Yeah.
100%. Should we go to predictions here?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do this thing. And I'll share this here. What we got? Predictions, of course, are brought to you by, I should probably actually hit the correct share screen button. All right. Predictions are brought to you by our friends at Congruity HR Solutions. Any kind of payroll, HR needs, medical care, not medical care, health insurance, logistics for your business. They can help you optimize your business solutions. Hit up Congruity. All the show notes, of course, have all their contact info. All right, like we said, 13.5 for the spread, 54.5 for the total. So expected score 34-20. Look at that, guys. 3 wins for the Noles. This is certainly not going to get clipped and thrown back in our face on Saturday. Not a chance.
I think the last time we all 3 picked FSU was the Pitt game.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. If your rush lane discipline as a defensive lineman is like this game, like it was against Pitt, even though this kid's not a great scrambler, like anybody can scramble against that. That is,
yes,
that's still bothers me.
Yeah, non-existent. With a spy.
It was all skate, bro. Just you guys do it.
Crazy.
God. Everybody into the pool.
I will call out all the models actually would have you covering this week because the FPI and Kelly Ford are based on neutral fields. So everything thinks you should cover this week.
Let's cover. Let's do it. I have 30-24. I don't have a super high trust level in the bounce back of this team after, like, I think they were up for that Clemson game. I know that they started so poorly, but I don't know that they started poorly because of just awful effort. It was more like awful execution at times. But it is hard if all your season goals are kind of dashed to keep getting up for the game as a team. You might get up individually, but like, what is the buy-in level right now?
What would, if you won the toss, would you take the ball this week, given we've seen them fall into early holes or like early adversity, and try to put that on the opponent for a change and see if you can get a quick score against a porous defense?
I mean, you spent all your money on offense. I think I want to take the ball and go score.
Right. I just feel like they have such a fragile mindset right now. I'd hate for something bad to go against them early because it can snowball. We've just seen that with this team this year. I feel like they need to see something good, and then they'll kind of build off of it. They do seem to play momentum one way or the other based on if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and defense has been playing pretty solid. So, yeah, I would probably agree with you, Chuck. I would probably go with deferring and kicking it. Yeah, I'm at 38-17. I know, Chuck, it might have been your turn next, but okay. Yeah, I'm at 38-17. And the reason why is because whenever we get going, we get going.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting our foot on the gas. We're going to try to score. We're going to be more aggressive, be more loose. And then again, we watched that Wake Forest game. Everybody was high. Everybody was all excited. The momentum was there. And I think we feed into that. Again, their defense lacks a lot of luster. It doesn't have an alpha. There's really nothing there other than effort on trying to just be able to stay in for this interim head coach. So I don't see them putting up very much point, but yeah, I think 38-17, I think we're able to really put this in the bag.
I could see us actually blowing a late cover. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they won by 14 points, but I think, something, you give a big play late because you're up comfortably, and you might be up 31-13 in the fourth quarter and you 31-20 final. But I do expect them to win, and probably win rather comfortably. I don't know that it's going to be, struggling into the fourth quarter, hoping to pull out a win. I think they should jump on them early and then just hold on.
If you're betting FSU here, aren't you just alt-lining them?
Yeah. I want to see how they start. Like,
right.
Kind of like that Wake Forest game. I probably would have been going Wake given how most of the first quarter went. And then it just kind of snowballed on Wake because they kept getting the penalties and the stupid shit. But I would want to see how this game starts and what tempo are the two teams playing at and who can force the other one to make a mistake first. And then you kind of just go off that.
I'm just thinking like Gus is one of these OCs who really cares about his stats.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mike could desperately use some style points here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
plus we know they play different at home. They just have this year. Like, I mean, even if you pull up two really bad opponents, they have played better football in Doak than they played on the road.
I mean, that's been pretty consistent under Mike overall. Like, and every team's a little bit worse on the road for the most part, but certain teams in given years are, and certain teams like Utah has a crazy home field advantage for some reason, right? Like it just shows up there. If you
elevation plays into that too.
I think elevation, the fact they have like a world-class defensive staff up there, and like they do funky things, and it's just like they also play really hard-nosed football. Yeah, but like that's like a year-to-year thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mike. There's been some years where they've been better on the road than than this year, obviously, or in some of the bad years, I guess.
Yeah, you play better on the road. I mean, you play better at home when you're mentally weak, to be honest. So you got to be mentally strong to play on the road. It's all the crap that we did when I was there, all the indoor facility and all the crowd noise and all the different variants that he threw at us in order for us to be mentally tough. Also, he was an asshole. Like he was cool. I love Jimbo. I genuinely love him. He was an asshole though. Like he was very Nick Saban style. Freaking if you don't do it, get his ass off the field. I don't want him on. I don't want to see his ass. So it's like you have to, if you don't have that mental fortitude to know that you will get dragged off the field if you're not doing your job within that moment. I'm not worried about going anywhere on the road. I'm not worried about playing on the road. When I play at home, it's hard. So it's like it's that mental fortitude is why you're able to go in someone else's house and make it your own.
Yeah.
Who would they replace you with if they pulled you off the field?
That never happened to me, but that never happened to me.
That was the right answer. I like that answer.
I've gotten into a couple of scuffles with Odell, but they were all when I was younger, when I was hungry. I wanted to get on the field, and Jimbo was like, "Nah, let's keep the starters on for right now," and he held me back, and I was like, "Man, just let me eat." But he appreciated it though. He appreciated it because he was like, some guys get scared. Some guys fall and you lose them on the sideline. But I was right there next to him. I was hungry. I want to get in. Get me in. So
I love that you went there with that. I was gonna say it's probably a guy who was a 4 or 5 star behind you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be more of that, hey, next guy up, get this guy out of here, if the talent drop off is not as insane.
Yeah.
If you do the whole like get this guy out of here and the backup really just can't physically play,
it doesn't matter.
It's right. It's harder to you're allowing more bad habits if you realize you don't have backup plans.
Yeah, when your backups are Kendrick Stewart and Bud Thacker, you can't do that.
Is that who was backing you up?
No, that was before Nile. That was before Jimbo was the head coach and loaded our defensive line.
Yeah,
that was the one thing we always could count on under Jimbo.
What was the name of the BC slow ass white quarterback that ran it all over? Chris Crane, maybe?
Yes. That was the 27-17 game in 2008 when Ponder had cracked ribs.
Oh, yeah. That was a good BC defense. They had like BJ Raji, Luke Kuechly, Herzlich, I guess, was the other dude. Or were they at the same time? Yeah, that was a crazy.
He was there.
Defense.
Crazy.
Yeah. I was like, oh, so you guys have like 4 10-year NFL vets on this team? Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, on defense. Nice job, Boston College. Oh, man. I think we were going to bring up the 2008 BC game tonight, but we did.
You never know with us.
Oh, man. All right. Well, hey, I hope we're doing a really fun instant reaction to the game and get a nice win. Even if we don't think things are going in the right direction, I don't about you guys. I have a hard time ever rooting for them to lose.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. It may be for the greater good, but I'm not gonna sit here and go, man, I hope they lose this week. That's just not in my DNA.
Yeah.
That's
Never.
hard. So, all right, y'all. We'll cut it here, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep.
Who knows?
Go Noles.